Hello, all you shooting enthusiasts. I've had to do a bit of an intro to this next interview. The interview this week is with Charlie Scott. Charlie finished sixth at the Nationals and at the time of recording competed in the Imbil June NRL22 event and won that, and then backed it up by driving to Jindawi and coming second in a PRS event. Charlie is an arborist for a company called ETS in North Brisbane. I hope you enjoy the interview as much as I enjoyed making it for you. See you on the next one.
Originally, my plans were to get into centerfire shooting, but it sort of wasn't a lot of centerfire shooting going on at the time, and the only club was Biggin, and they got closed down with centerfire, and now they just do rimfire. So when there wasn't much else to do, I got introduced to NRL22 by a mate, and I haven't didn't think I'd get this far down the rabbit hole with it all.
The same as all of us.
Yeah, mate, it's an expensive rabbit hole, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to be.
Yeah,
How was the Nationals for you?
the Nationals this year it was it was great. It's a really good location down there at Coffs. Um, I wasn't expecting it to be as good. To be honest, I was just from all the photos. I just thought I pictured it as a shed in the hills, sort of a thing. But I got out there and I was just blown away with how green it was and how well kept it was. And yeah, it was a really good location for the finale.
And how was your 2 days? Were you confident? Were you not confident? Were you ahead on points all the time or not?
Um, I wasn't actually too nervous, to be honest. I just rolled straight into the match and just did my thing. I literally just came from a national match at Hilltop shooting centre fire the week before, and suddenly had to get my mind on rim fire again. So basically, just swapped out my gear bag for all my centre fire stuff to my rim fire stuff, and yeah, so I was pretty well warmed up to it, and I was excited too because I got the course of fire. As soon as you get the course of fire and you read it, you think this is going to be good.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. Um, where did you finish?
I finished sixth overall for the finale. Yeah, so that's a few jumps up the ladder from where I was last year's finale. I was ninth last year, so always progressing, and it's yeah, come up against some good competition this year, like uh, Blackburn who won it. He slayed it, and then my mates were saying, "See, he's a centerfire shooter." So, oh mate, it's a big thing between the centerfires and the rimfire fellas. I'm sort of somewhere in the middle, so yeah, but yeah, it's good to see Mitch Taylor getting up there in third, and good to see how he's going over there in America. He's going really good over there.
Yeah, it's great to see that we've got some good competitors. Do you feel like, you do a fair bit of competing. Do you feel like people are getting better?
Absolutely, absolutely. We did last year. We did two courses of fire that we actually did the season prior. I think it was the April course of fire, and I came dead. So the year before last year, I came dead last, nearly dead last in that competition. It was the first time I'd only set my rifle out into a comp and sort of didn't really know what to do. And then a year later, I was second. And then Ben B posted on the online the difference between the scores from last year's course of fire to this one, and it was just everyone's getting better. And you could take a podium finish with a scores in the 300s, but if you drop one or two shots now, that's enough for you to fall off the podium. So it's becoming extremely competitive now, even in just the 22s. So it's this NRL 22 is really taken Australia by surprise with how popular it's becoming, and but it's good to see.
Yeah, it is good to see.
Yeah.
What got you into NRL 22?
Uh, well, as mentioned before, it was just I was originally had my heart set on getting right in the to centerfire, so I got a rifle set up for centerfire, and then everything sort of came to a screeching halt with the lack of centerfire comps being held in Queensland. And then I'd gone and built this gun and couldn't compete or use it. So my mate Dan Winkle said, "Oh, they're doing this thing called NRL22 down at Belmont. Do you want to come?" And so I went down for a look, and I only had a Bruno 452 at the time, so we went down and just had a plink with that, and from there it was just okay. Well, if there's no centre fire, then this is it, and then it just became addictive. And then I thought, look at all these morons spending 4 grand on an optic just for a 22, and then here I am with a Night Force on a CZ. So I can't talk. It's just how it goes. It just depends on how serious you want to take it. I progressed to up from I went a Vortex Gen 1, PST Gen 1 up to a Night Force, and yeah, I just basically tried to start cheap, and if I liked it and I wanted to get into it and get a bit more serious, I'd spend a bit more money, and boy, have I spent some money. It's a it's an expensive hobby to have, but it's a great hobby to have.
Yeah, it's great fun. What's your normal training routine? How normally do you train?
I don't train, to be honest. I tried to get it to do a bit of training at the start, and then yeah, it just sort of stopped. It was a bit like it's almost like a kid doing his homework. Just you don't do it. Some people do, and it does show. You will get results from practicing, doing dry fire training, but I probably the only training we get is going to matches and also going out to Biggin and doing matches out there. The matches we do out there are run by a good bunch of fellas, and I've learned a lot of stuff towards PRS fundamentals and stuff from those fellas, especially Jared Trigger. He's a world of knowledge when it comes to transitioning, and just he pays great attention to detail with everything everyone's doing, like right down to what you're doing with your trigger finger and what your feet are doing, and your choice of your order of your barricades and stuff like that. And it's something that we've all learnt and taken something from, and I believe I've become far better shooter because of Jared solely. So
That's
it's
amazing.
I don't know why more people don't go out to Biggin, because that's why we did as good as we did in America last year and the finale last year as well. And so that's all we're doing is long range shooting out there, and it's the 22 stuff wasn't really what Jared anticipated hosting at that range, but it's sort of all we've got at the moment. But the fundamentals are still there, just the same. So he works on everyone who's out there wanting to be a better shooter.
That's so cool. So, to the lead up to the Nationals, do anything different?
Um, no, no, not really. I just yeah, we did a bit of shooting down at Biggin. We did I actually did haven't I've only been to one NRL22 shoot at QMRC this year so far, just because of other things and get other competitions. And yeah, I just had that one shoot at Hilltop the week leading up to Coffs Harbour, and I suppose that was the only practice I got.
Yeah, righto. That seems to suit you then. No training.
Yeah, no training. Yeah, well, yeah, if you can be like that, good on you. But you could probably be a bit better shooter if you did practice a bit.
Okay, so tell everyone what's your rig, what's your gun, what's your scope.
Okay, well, I've mentioned Night Force already, so I've got two Night Force attackers, 7 to 35 by 56 on both my rimfire and my centerfire rigs, and that was I could never even see myself owning one Night Force attacker, let alone two. And I bought them both within a month of each other, and I think I'm still financially recovering from that. That was a couple of years ago. So, yeah, so my CZ is what I run, CZ457, and that's in an ACC MDT with a 24-inch swan barrel straight profile, 1 in 16 twist. And ever since I've put that barrel onto this gun, and into the chassis, that's when I've been noticing results. I've suddenly realised like I can start winning matches now, and not only that, I've got myself on a good batch of ammo as well. I don't have problems with flies anymore, and it's given me that new lease of life, and it's given me more confidence now. I just needed the confidence knowing that my rifle is going to perform how it should and get the points.
And now that's a pre-fit barrel too, that one.
That's a pre-fit. Yeah, I chose to go pre-fit because I possibly might want to put 17 HMR into it. I might want to run 22 mag one day, and yeah, I've also got in the pipeline maybe possibly going to build a voodoo in the near future. So I've got a Bartland barrel there, and I picked up a voucher from Rhino Sports towards a voodoo action, and yeah, might look at building one of those. And yeah, I'll still have this as a rifle, no doubt. But I'd also like to maybe have a bit of fun with other calibers,
Yep.
like the 17 and the 22 mag possibly. But that's why I went pre-fit for that, just to keep that option open. But
Okay.
I recommend anyone who wants to go at 22 just for competition, it'd probably be better to get it threaded, just for the sake of it's going to be a more firm fit. But Swanee assures me that he can do just as good a job with pre-fit and screw in, and it's proven that that's definitely correct.
I think you're doing that now, mate. You're proving it.
Yeah, this gun is actually really impressive, and I went from a gun that I just sort of liked to a gun I now absolutely love.
Yeah, value for money. I don't think you can go past the 457s. There's so much you can do to them.
Oh yeah, no, they're for a budget rifle that you can start out with a budget base and build it up to something that is quality and towards an open rig. Um, Josh Thomas from America, he reckons that they're keeping up easily with the Voodoos and the Rimexes. So it comes down to how much what time and effort you want to put into a cheap rig to get it performing like an expensive rig.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm a real CZ fan. Okay, tell everyone what's your preference for a barricade bag?
Uh, I my go-to is a medium game changer. I've got I went over to America with no mediums and I came back with like two of them, but I had to tip all the sand out. So that was my plan. I ended up getting one of Chris Simmons custom made ones through Armageddon, and
Nice.
it's a red bag. So I remember I misplaced mine at last year's finale and couldn't find it because it looked like everyone else's. So I thought if I get a red one, it's not going to get mixed up with all the others. So that's my go-to bag for most of my stages. And when I do skill stage, I have an Area 419 rail changer bag with a Armageddon medium on the bottom of it. So they're my preferred bags for pretty much all the barricades I use.
Taking a step back in the order of notes here of questions, what ammo does that gun prefer?
These thicker profile barrels are pretty forgiving with most ammo you put in them. It shoots good with SK. It shoots good with Lapua Center X, and it shoots really good with Ely. It just came down to the batchings at the time when I was trialing different batches and brands of ammo through the barrel, what was going to give me the best SDs. And I was getting really good SDs with all of them. The SK batch that I bought a case, two cases. So I had 10,000 rounds of SK match that was giving me flyers every, like, probably two in every 10 shots. And then I tried the Lapua Center X. It had a really, really tight group. SD was just a smidgen behind Ely, and I ended up by default stumbling onto Ely Pistol Match, which gave me an SD of like 3.9 and a spread of like 11 or 12. So I thought, okay, well, that's what I'm going with. So I went down to the shop and bought the rest of what he had down there, and that's currently what I'm running in this gun now. But I also chose Ely because it's a silver projectile, and I find that when the sun's right, you see that silver projectile sailing over to the target a little bit better than those black projectiles that SK and Lapua do.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hearing you there. What's your greatest NRL 22 achievement?
It'd probably have to be my trip to America last year, I reckon. To say that you got to go over to the USA and represent Australia for a discipline that's fairly new is a pretty good achievement if you ask me. And it was good. I was pretty proud walking up the front with the boys with the green and gold jersey on, and they give us a really good warm welcome over there. They give us a real good cheer when we all stood up, and they thanked the Australians for being there. So
Yeah.
that's something that I don't regret doing the slightest bit. But I just wasn't quite financially recovered from last year to be able to go this year again. So I get to watch them all doing it from Facebook instead.
It's exciting, eh?
Oh, it's great. They're going really good over there.
What do you wish you knew at the start of your NRL 22 journey?
Oh, I wish I knew about batchings of ammo. I wish that you don't go down to a shop and just buy 5,000 rounds of SK and expect it to all go good out of that one gun. So if I had my time again, I'd probably go back and I would buy different lots of ammo, find out what your rifle likes, and yeah, basically go from there. Also, even if you could borrow a chronograph, find out what SDs you can get. So basically, if you can find the most consistent speeds without flyers and stuff like that, that's what's going to give you your confidence to be good at the sport. And yeah, you can have an expensive rig, but if you don't have good ammo, it won't perform. So I've seen people with pretty cheap sort of base setups, and they shoot flawlessly with the right type of ammo. So I don't think you have to go out and buy expensive scopes and expensive gear, rifles and actions and that to get to win matches. It does certainly help, but I think predominant amount of that goes towards the quality of the ammo that you're shooting at the matches.
That's interesting. What is the best single piece of advice you've been given since you've started NRL 22?
Oh, um, keep your eye open when you after you fire the shot. Don't blink. This is one thing Jared taught me was it's a natural thing for a person to want to blink when you're having a gun go off. I know it's only a 22, but still people get into the habit of blinking when they break that shot. But if you get in the habit of breaking that shot and keeping that eye open, you'll see where that shot goes and allow your brain to process what you've got to do to correct that follow up shot. So that's one thing that I'm really training myself to do. I still struggle with it at first, but I find I warm into it halfway through a match, and I find I get on top of that. And yeah, and also watch what the pros do. Watch everything they do, from how they move their feet and they transition between stages. Um, it all counts. All those little things. It's they're not where they're at because they're just got the expensive gear. There's a reason they've learnt the fundamentals, and they're doing everything that contributes towards getting the stage shot faster and getting more impacts on the plates.
What piece of advice would you give a new starter in NRL 22? I think you already have.
Pretty much just the same sort of thing of what I was just mentioned before was um, if you want to get straight into the deep end and you've got the coin to do it, go out and buy an expensive rig. But I'd spend all the money on a decent batch of ammo first, and then go from there. Get yourself a really good barricade bag, like a Schmedium, or even one of James Head's RA bags. Um, get yourself a really good bag and get your rig balanced. Having a gun that balances is one thing, and teach yourself positional fundamentals like how to shoot off a ladder and how to keep your gun still on that balance point. I see a lot of new shooters come to competitions without a bag, and they just think throwing their gun up on top of a rung and just shooting is good enough. And then you offer for them to borrow a Schmedium to see if they like it. And a lot of the times they'll borrow it, but sometimes they'll say, "Nah, I don't need that." And you're like, "Oh, I think you'll find you do." And if they're one of those shooters that hangs around in the sport, you'll find they usually do end up falling back on a bag in the end of some kind to because it's just one of those things you can't not have in this competition.
No, no. So where to from here? What's your next goal?
Oh well, it's just keep going how I'm going. I had a pretty good weekend just gone, and if I can just be consistent and just keep doing that, then that you couldn't ask for more. Yeah, just make sure I can be the first one in the door if I know a new batch of ammo has come in. Otherwise, if you run out and it's a bit of a dry spell between the next batch, you could be shooting CCI standard before the next batch comes in. So just make sure I've got a good supply of ammo there and in advance, and make sure that I can keep up with just being able to get to the comps and be consistent. That's the main thing. You can see a lot of people, they go to a competition and they might wing a win here and there, but if you're consistent, then that's how you know that they're doing something right. So that's proven there with some of the shooters here in Australia, like Jason Shaw and Mitch Taylor and Ben B. They're doing something right. So they found what's working for them. And yeah, that's what you got to do. Just be consistent.
Tell us about last weekend. You just mentioned it then. What did you do last weekend?
Uh, I went up to the Imbil shoot that James Head is organised up at Imbil at WSAA branch there. He's done wonders for that club and for the sport of NRL22. He's been in the pipeline of getting that sorted for a little while now, and he's finally got it up and running. So I think we had our third NRL22 match, but it was our first official match where our scores were actually went towards the standings, the seasonal standings, and he's getting Centerfire up and running there as well soon, hopefully.
Oh,
So we'll be able to shoot PRS there, hopefully. And yeah, so we shot the June course of fire there, and I got a win there. So that was pretty happy with that. That's the first NRL 22 win for this rig behind me, but and I only dropped one shot for the match. That was because of a small mental error. I got out of sequence and but corrected myself and got back in sequence again, but still got all impacts. So that was good. And then we got in the car and we drove. I was with Pete and Nicole Langley. We drove out to Jandowie for the Precision Rifle Queensland shootout there and had the June match. And yeah, I managed to snag a second place out there as well. So
that's golden.
yeah, it was it's good fun. So it's good to be able to be good at center fire and rim fire. So you're not one of those fellas who's classed as just a 22 shooter or a center fire shooter. So somewhere, that's what I said. I'm somewhere in the middle.
That's golden, mate. Congratulations on that. For our viewers, Charlie and I have been talking for
Thanks,
the
mate.
last few days, and yeah, I was so happy to hear that you did that. I think it's well deserved.
Thanks for that, mate. Cheers.
You're welcome. Okay, so we'll wind this up. Thank you again for agreeing to do this. What we're trying to do with Precision Rimfire Australia at the moment won't happen unless we get guys like you to donate their time like this. So thanks so much for it.
It's my pleasure, Dom. Thanks for having me.